right? They put out this notice,
Right.
to all the students on campus, because Alexis is going to UL Lafayette now, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
well, they got the storm coming, and I don't even freaking know the name. Francine, Francis. I mean, who knows? Whatever. Anyway, they
Yeah.
got this storm coming, and so they put out a notice to all the students, supposedly, and
Hmm.
campus procedures concerning tropical systems and campus closure. The
Right.
following are guidelines based upon the tropical cyclone's intensity. Sounds
Okay.
reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Well, well, let's take a look at these. If it's a Category 1 hurricane, no excuse for being late. Leave early to give extra time to
Mm,
avoid fallen trees and limbs.
okay.
Sounds
Good for
pretty
them.
good.
Yeah, good safety advice. Avoid the falling trees and limbs.
Category 2. Due to horizontal rain, you may dress casually.
That's that's
So,
good.
Category 3 hurricane. Whereas most of the area will be flooded, we suggest you avoid wearing open sandals when coming to class. Canoes, kayak will be provided to get to building safely.
I might add one there. Add one for them. Avoid the floating balls of fire ants. That's always a good thing when the water's up.
Well, that's what the canoes and kayaks are for. But why they
Right.
didn't have piros in there, I don't know. That seems sacrilegious for South Louisiana. But let's move to a Category 4, right? So
Right.
they've got even advisements up to a Category 5. But for Cat 4, here's what they
Hmm.
say. They say more than likely there will be no electricity. Students will be given manual typewriters and rotary dial phones. If you choose to wear makeup, we suggest waterproof.
That's awesome.
I got to tell you, this school is moving to the top of my list.
I gotta look. I
And
can't disagree with that.
last but not least, a Cat 5 hurricane, they say Velcro will be provided to keep you attached to your seat when windows and doors blow out. For those that survive, we will have chocolate cake at 3:30 p.m. in the conference center.
Wow. That's pretty good. That's a good way to start
You
the
gotta
show.
love UL Lafayette.
Oh, I got to. And look, before we get too far into the
So,
show, I need to do a little disclaimer here. My electricity went out in the whole neighborhood for no reason at about 4:30. So, I hope my electricity stays back on because I can get us back up and running with my generator and reserve power, but it'll take me about 8 minutes and there's a debate tonight. Did you know that, dude?
oh, are you and I going to argue?
Well, we argue like almost not every Tuesday
Okay, well,
night, but some Tuesday nights. But no, there's one that I'm really going to have popcorn and drinks for tonight, and it starts about 8 o'clock.
that's great. I mean, if we're going to debate here, I'm Trump since I got Trump's hat, and you can be Kamala.
Oh, gee, thank you. I somehow don't resemble her. I don't really resemble Trump either because I have gray hair, not orange hair.
I know. Well, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Oh, we're going to talk briefly about Judge Parker Self's ruling and the corresponding city council vote today. Um, I don't think we're going to talk about the Charter Commission this evening because, I mean, it's pretty much the same. And maybe give a few thoughts or perspectives from inside the courtroom. So I thought we'd, share a little bit. Oh, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have a little bit of an English lesson.
Ooh, boy, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to bite my tongue tonight. Boy, I got evil thoughts in my head today. But anyway, we go to a countdown or not? What are we gonna do?
Let's go and do the countdown, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes, folks. We're gonna get started because again, by 8 o'clock, we're out of here tonight. So anyway, we'll be right back. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Hello, Val Baker, Robin, Miss Judy, Dee Dee. Hello to all of y'all, Miss Ann, David Johnson, and all that. We'll be right back. Y'all know the drill. About 2.5 to 3 minutes. Oh, we will be back.
Knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. There's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating. So I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
I titled it "A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys."
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. Oh, folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico, buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS.
We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks. Through conscious, shocking actions, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr. In theory, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by The Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. And we're back. So, what else? And we've got to talk. We've got a channel. Well, Sadow put out an article earlier, and I knew it was going to happen before too long, but somebody's played the race card.
Okay.
So,
I'll play along.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I've got to offer everybody that's watching an apology. I bet you didn't know I was going to apologize tonight.
An apology?
Yeah, like I rarely apologize for anything.
Whatever are you going to apologize about?
Well, the calendar, the event posting for tonight, there's a little bit of, it's not really cussing, but there's a little bit of foul imagery in there, so to speak. Uh-oh, I lost Mr. Lowry. Well, anyway, so I'll keep apologizing, and hopefully he'll be able to come back on. But I want to apologize to everybody because, we might throw out a few little curse words every now and then, but we try not to do the F-bomb. So I have to apologize to everybody. The city council members, the Recalcitrant 5, they posed for this group photo after the city council meeting today. I didn't believe they were going to let me take the picture. And these are the buttons that they had on their lapels, had on their collars or whatever this afternoon. So I apologize to the audience for the way that the Recalcitrant 5 city councilmen.
Oh, okay, I got to stop you right there because I'm going to claim my Halton roots. And I'm going to say you're using these big airline high school terminology words and crap. I can't even pronounce that word. Recalcitrant? What is that, like one of them he-mans or something? What is I don't get it. You're going to have to expand on that a little bit. I don't get it.
So let me give the full context of the word recalcitrant and where I'm getting this from.
Is that a California word?
Well, no, it's one of them high-dollar lawyer words because it's one of the words that the lawyer used in one of his filings. He called them recalcitrant councilmen. And so I looked up the definition, and I've got it on the screen. And the definition of recalcitrant is having an obstinately uncooperative attitude towards authority or discipline. I think that fits the Recalcitrant 5, the good old boys, about as good as it can be. It's like the perfect term for them.
I'm having to read that sentence a couple of times. Obstinately uncooperative attitude. Huh.
Yeah.
That
There.
does seem eerily familiar to Bossier politics. It does.
Well, and look, the little, you know, Senate segment there is a class of recalcitrant 15-year-olds. See, I've been saying, we've been discussing this. They're like dealing with teenagers. It's like when
See,
you catch your teenager doing something bad and they just keep denying it and keep denying it and want to trudge on through.
No, Cassie, they're not saying you.
No, not you, Cassie. Hold on. Let me let me put that screenshot back up. Those are the recalcitrants right there. All 5 of those. Darby, Jeff Free, Bubba Don Williams, Vince Maggio, and the Queen himself and leader of the pack, vroom, vroom, David Montgomery.
Well, wait a minute now. Now, Bubba allegedly voted for putting the thing on the agenda today. So does that
He
get him
did.
off the hook?
Hell no.
Is that accurate? I didn't watch the council meeting and I didn't go, but
Well, he did vote, and I want to say something.
Why did he do that?
Maybe he had a guilty conscience. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get in heaven. I don't know. But he did vote to add it to the agenda. But I think, honestly, I think he hit the wrong button. Maybe he had a change of heart. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on Bubba Don, but he has been obstinate and recalcitrant this entire time. Why would he change today? Unless he's worried about, what would that be? Malfeasance, contempt of court? Maybe he's worried about those big words.
Well, maybe the leaders of the term limit coalition are going to go after some of that. How would I know?
Yeah, boy, you're trying to goad me into my soapbox,
Anyway,
Mr. Lowry.
What are you reading here?
Well, I also want to show this. So this is from Judge Parker Self's ruling. So this is the judge himself in the ruling that was issued yesterday when Judge Self ordered the city council to do what they're supposed to do and perform their duties and get this in front of the voters, which, of course, as most of you probably already know, they didn't do today. But I want to read this. Mr. Cobb, who was the attorney for the insurance attorney that Montgomery hired, Mr. Cobb maintains that Councilman Montgomery, Darby, and Williams would be forced to resign their seats because each had already served 3 terms. The court finds that this argument is somewhat disingenuous in that the propositions read that, quote, no person who has been elected to serve as mayor or councilman for 3 terms shall be eligible for an additional term, unquote. Now, this is Judge Parker Self saying this. He called that somewhat disingenuous.
Oh, well, okay. I want to chime in on that just a little bit. Even Greg Bell says somewhat. He highlights that word. You know what I think he means by somewhat? I think
He
that
kind of lied, kind of, sort of, almost, but not quite lied.
No, I think the somewhat part of this means that they believe that they are entitled to the office again if they so choose the next election or at all the next elections that they want. They're entitled to it.
Well,
And then
yeah.
okay.
And that point was brought up in the courtroom.
It was, and in the words of Jeff Darby, allegedly, they're owed another term if they want. They're owed.
Oh yeah, because of their sacrifice. They've sacrificed. I'm telling you, it's been a tough sacrifice in a damn air-conditioned building. Real tough. You're gonna get me on my soapbox. You're like trying to drag me up there. But here's the deal with this. So those are the judge's words. His term, somewhat disingenuous. So keep that in mind. So I thought, let's look up some synonyms, similar words to disingenuous. And here they are. Dishonest, deceitful, underhanded, duplicitous, double-dealing, two-faced, insincere, false, lying, and untruthful. And that's just some of them. Does that not sound like the Recalcitrant Five to you?
I particularly like economical with truth. That I like that one.
Okay. Well, you know.
Oh, look at that.
And,
Hollow-hearted.
oh yeah, what else? Calculating, scheming, tricky, sneaky, unscrupulous, shifty. Not my words. It's literally the judge's term, and I'm just showing you the synonyms. Don't hold it against me. Don't hold it against us. All right. But did you know, Duke? Did you know that Merriam-Webster also says...
Do I know Miriam?
Well,
Maybe.
do you know her?
They kin to Marriott?
It's
No?
you know, back in the day when they used to actually print a dictionary and we used to have to go get this book and flip through the pages.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
Yeah.
remember that.
That Merriam. Did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know that let me read this in the context of Self's comments. A somewhat disingenuous remark might contain some somewhat superficial truth, but it is delivered with the somewhat intent to somewhat deceive or to serve some somewhat hidden purpose. Pretty much
Boy.
straight up call them somewhat liars.
Okay. I'm feeling you here. I'm feeling you. Keep going.
Okay. Well, you know, that's pretty much it. I mean, if we want to get into the vote, we can do that, but you know, and so that leads to let me go back over here. That leads to the screenshot, if I can pull it back up. That leads to the calendar event and the big FU to all the voters that the Recalcitrant Five issued today. In spite of Cassie Rogers' very good comments and basically plea to them, she did an excellent job. But in spite of that, nah, FU Cassie from these guys.
Now look, I'm gonna say this. I think that, you know, there's over 100 something people watching the show now. And, you know, there would have been no surprise to me that the Queen, Darby, and Free, you know, would have voted to continue doing on. I am surprised about Bubba. But I think I'm gonna say that Bubba's vote was deliberate. I think he respected the judge. And let me back up a second. I got to tell you, I got to say this about the ruling from the judge. That gives me hope that, you know, the layperson or the general public can in fact get a fair shake from the judiciary. I mean, I got to tell you, I have had my doubts. I have had my doubts because there's been so many cases recently that have come through on things that are no brainers that are you know, just like that case for the phone records of Montgomery. I mean that.
Well,
But
you're right. You're right, and I'm glad you brought that up because we're flying by the seat of our pants as usual tonight, and I didn't have that in any sort of notes, but I'm glad you brought that up because we've both been very harsh on the 26 JDC, and I had basically zero confidence in getting a favorable ruling from the 26 JDC, but we weren't even in that courtroom when they came back from their little sidebar deal to figure out the kind of stipulations or whatever. When they came back, it didn't take 15 minutes, and I was pretty sure which way Parker Self was going to rule, and it was ruling with the law.
Right, and I respect that totally.
Yeah, and
somebody's already criticized me, and that's fine. It's fair enough. But I'm going to give credit when credit's due because I think this was the correct ruling.
It was.
So
I want to say, all right, but let me say one more thing too, because we were sitting in the courtroom the entire time.
Yep.
So And there was a pretty good crowd in the courtroom as well. Reporters were all there. As a matter of fact, one of the reporters almost got kicked out because she wouldn't turn her phone off, and the sheriff's deputies were telling her to turn it off. Anyway, but I also want to say that Parker Self, as critical as I've been, and we both have, about the 26 JDC, he gave both sides a fair shake. It wasn't, I mean, I had a feeling which way he was going to go with some of the questions he asked at the beginning, but he gave both sides equal time and gave them a fair shake, in my opinion. Did you get that sentiment from sitting there?
Yeah, I did. But I mean, but we're biased on the deal, and we feel like our case, or of the Term Limits Coalition's case, was sound from a legal perspective, and that makes me want to go back to the cases. What gives you the pause to say you don't feel like you can get a fair shake in the 26 JDC? Well, I'm going to go back to specific cases. Now, I will say this: I'm going to go back to the previous term limit case, where Judge Craig, he made the ruling on the previous petition, where there's a lot of us put in a lot of hard work to collect signatures and get that thing over the line. Thankfully, there were more people this time. There wasn't as many people that previous time, but he made the ruling that he had to have a strict interpretation of the law. The statute said that you have to have the year of birth. My only critic was correct. I'm not that bent about that one, but my only rub is I don't know that he even considered the fact that the Secretary of State's office and them basically, suggested that the voter ID is there. It contains that information. You know, that wasn't even considered. I find fault in that.
Well, and not just that.
Let's go back.
The template came from the Secretary of State's office. The template for the petition.
Correct. So to not even consider that, that one roots me a little bit. Then let's go to that Marriott case on Montgomery and those phone records. Not easily attainable? Bull crap. I mean, if you've got allegedly a councilman giving direction to the popo go after a particular business, it's an appropriate request for personal phone records when you're not using the city issued phone to conduct city business. But you can't even look at the phone records to determine it because, oh, by the way, they're not easily attainable.
So
I'm sorry. You just gave the green light. You just gave green light to have no transparency. I mean, that was an egregious ruling, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. So Val Baker asks,
you wait for me to keep on.
Oh, no. I just want to put a question up here. So Val Baker says, are they filing an appeal? Yes, they've already filed the appeal, which is why they were able to, I've got the screenshot, why they were able to feel comfortable voting the way they did, although technically, I mean, they're supposed to abide by Parker Self's ruling until the case gets taken up or not on appeal, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a lawyer, take that for what it's worth. So yeah, they filed the appeal today.
Yeah, they filed the appeal today, and what I would tell you, of course, you would have to talk to some of the Term Limits Coalition people to know the answer, but apparently, there will be a request for expediting the case and potentially getting it heard in time. Supposedly, sometimes these cases can take up to a couple of months for the Second Circuit to hear them. I personally don't think it'll take that long. I think they'll take this issue up because they're not blind. I mean, they hear, they know, they probably, this is already on their radar. The thing will be as to whether or not you've got some of the Bossier judges that, if their names were drawn and came up in this in the Court of Appeals, I'm thinking they may recuse themselves. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Maybe they don't, but I think they can get a ruling out on this pretty fast, because I think Parker Self's ruling, I'm biased, but I think Parker Self's ruling is solid.
Yeah, I think he's made it very difficult for them to get any kind of appeals court ruling that would be contrary to his ruling. And I probably didn't say that the right way legally, but in other words, I agree with you. So, but yeah, y'all can watch some of the news broadcasts and all that to get more information.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
now, if anybody has any other questions on kind of where that is, I mean, it's there. There's an appeal filed with the Second Circuit, and now we're waiting on the Second Circuit Court of Appeals as to whether or not they will grant them overturning it or whatever.
Yeah.
And the whole attempt of there is to just delay so that it can't get on the December ballot. That's the whole ball game, and enable them to be able to run again. But I will tell you, as I was thinking about it a little bit, Rex, and
Mhm.
I had a little bit of a thought. Now, again, I'm no lawyer. I'm a Rhodes Scholar of Stupidville. But if I was a Term Limits Coalition guy, I would probably be thinking maybe I may be thinking about a lawsuit to stop the qualifying or the election for the council and the mayor come this spring.
Well, that would be a good strategy meeting. Maybe you should go on a news show and reveal that.
Maybe so, but maybe somebody involved or close to the thing maybe hear these words and could convey that to somebody that would be in the know. I'm just talking out loud.
Sources say. All right. So here is the vote. So this was to add on because it was not on the published agenda. So they had to vote and get a unanimous vote to actually add it on to the agenda. And look, Cassie Roberts did a superb job of commenting today at that meeting. So I encourage everybody to go watch and review the city council meeting from today. It's on YouTube. It's only about 45 minutes. Go watch that and listen to Cassie's comments. We're not going to do the, play by play tonight because, well, the debate's coming on here in a little bit. But here's how they voted. This was to add it on, adopt a resolution, ordering and calling a special election, blah, 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 blah. Voted for it, of course, Chris Smith did, and of course Brian Hammonds did, because they, along with Tommy, the mayor, have been steadfast supporters of term limits from day one. And Bubba Don voted for it. I don't, like I said, maybe he's feeling guilty. Maybe he's not sure about being in contempt of court. Maybe he's having a change of heart. Maybe he hit the wrong button. But he did vote for it to add it on to the agenda. But of course, Darby, Montgomery, and Maggio didn't. Maggio is just a little follow-along chihuahua behind Montgomery and everybody else.
I was gonna say earlier that I think everyone probably they should be paying attention to Maggio and the fact that Maggio is throwing in with keeping things the way that they are, doesn't want to change anything. I've always respected Bubba Don Williams. I always have. I always thought he had the best interest of the city in mind. I've always thought that was why he served. I've always felt that way. And, you know, I think that he probably believed that maybe the petition and maybe it was unconstitutional or something to that effect. He may actually believe that, but I do think that probably I'm going to say his vote was. I may be wrong, and y'all can tell me I'm an idiot or whatever, but I think he voted because the judge made the ruling and he listened to it. He respected it.
Yeah, you may be absolutely correct about that. So Miss Jerry Castellani puts up a comment. She said, "So sad. Cassie held herself together with grace and humility. Thank you." I also want to mention that Miss Jerry was at the Charter Commission meeting last night, which I was at also. She did get up and speak and got a taste of that down bell from Sandra Morehart. Ding, ding, ding.
Now,
but Jerry did a good job. Miss Jerry did a good job of commenting, and I want to give her some credit for attending the meeting last night, along with several others over there.
Now, look, I wasn't there. You were there, and I had someone else describe the events to me. And you and I haven't talked about this, but as I understand it, supposedly Miss Castellani, who I will acknowledge is a neighbor of mine, went and spoke, and she kind of got her head bit off a little bit by one of the Charter Commission members. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
That is pretty accurate. Now, I will also say that Mike Lombardino issued some comments as a Charter Commission member and kind of in support of Miss Castellani. And then I got up there and spoke. And Vicky was going to try to do battle with me, and that's a mistake. But I was nice. I was actually being nice. And she tried to tell me that, oh no, there's only 3 people allowed to speak. I was like, your rules say 4. It's your rules, not mine. Remember, y'all voted on that.
Well, it just makes me wonder why. I mean, she is the marshal's wife. I mean, and I'm just wondering, maybe they should be focused on getting the muffins secured at the marshal's office. I'm thinking that should probably be more of a higher priority than changing and affecting rules on the citizens of Bossier City. I'm thinking maybe you should get your own house cleaned up a little bit first. But
yeah, maybe so. And
but
Cassie says, I am still at a loss as to why they did not grant me a few extra seconds. They could have, at the very least, given me a few seconds. No, Cassie, they're not going to do that. How can they do that and then turn around and give you an FU? It just doesn't work that way.
Well, okay. We haven't never, and you always say, I mean, look, I want to ask that if people in the comments, if you would tone down the rhetoric, I mean, we pick fun at people, but I don't know. Let's just not go too terribly far. Okay.
Wait a minute. I was reading comments. Did you just tell me to tone down the rhetoric and not go too far?
I wasn't saying you. I was just saying in the comments, if we could, let's tone down the rhetoric because
okay.
Yeah,
anyway. Okay. So I see that comment. I'm not going to put it on the screen. Let's keep it politically oriented. Let's just say.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, we there's a lot of us that have different opinions. We disagree. There's some of us that believe some people have some motives and others do not. And, it doesn't, when we start devolving into, bad name calling, I mean,
that's not really that bad. Let me help.
I know I'm being hypocritical. I know I am, but we pick fun at people. And I'm telling you, any of these people, okay, wait a minute. Maybe with the exception of Juliana, but almost all people I would still be friendly with and would have a conversation with and debate and talk to them.
Well, I'm going to put this comment up here because David Montgomery is a self-serving ass. Well, that is true, and that is politically speaking. He is definitely a self-serving ass as far as politics there. We'll just get that one out of the way. How about that? I agree with that comment.
If he wanted to sit down and talk and try and debate on the issues, I would still sit down with him regardless of how horrible of a person I thought that he was.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold the door open for him, but we could have a debate any day. And again, he's welcome on the show anytime. He's got my phone number, I know for sure.
Absolutely. All
right.
So, Jeff Sadow chimed in on this and had a really great article. I don't know. Did you get to see that?
Oh, hold on a minute. Yes, I did, and I'll put it up. I'm being asked, where is Duke and what with him? This is not AI speaking. This is really Duke, sort of, but I couldn't resist.
I'm sorry, guys. I had a bad day today. I had a really bad day today, and you just don't know how much I'm biting my tongue off. Y'all have no idea. There is a lot I would like to say, but I'm not saying it.
And again, it's why I'm drinking sweet tea and not Crown and Coke or Crown and Mountain Dew. Literally sweet tea. All right. Let's get back to the subject at hand. So what were you just mentioning? I'm sorry, I threw a squirrel out there.
I think I was telling you that Jeff Sadow had a really great article, and I think that was what I was saying. And I wondered if everybody else had the opportunity to see it.
Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But if y'all don't know, Jeff said I'll posted this and emailed it around a few hours ago. And this is kind of interesting. Bossier City
Okay, wait a
councilors
minute.
channel
Wait a
their
minute. Wait
inner
a minute.
George.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Wait a
is that the
minute.
wrong
Wait a
thing?
minute. Wait a minute. Is that the one from today
I think so.
that
I'm
just came
pretty
out
sure.
earlier?
September 10th, 2024.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Somehow I got lost in my own
I'm
show.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's
It's
me.
one of those
It's
nights,
all my
folks.
fault.
Okay.
See,
So,
I am trying to burnish our amateur, credentials.
all
Carry
right.
on.
Oh, wait a minute. Your wife says, and you will continue to have bad days if you are recalcitrant to her again. Good for you, Kara. All right.
See, she didn't watch the first part of the show, or else she would
Yeah.
know she used that word wrong.
Yeah. See, any new folks who are watching this are going, who the hell are these guys? What are these clowns about?
They're loving it because they are hilarious.
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell they're doing. This is a train wreck.
All right. Let's try this again because we've only got about 10 minutes. Bossier City councilors channel their inner George Wallace. This is just Sadow's article from today. And it says, emulating the Alabama segregationist governor, Montgomery, Maggio, and Darby create their own version of blocking the schoolhouse door and trying to violate a court order. And of course, then it, reads down there. And he's even got this quote. It says, in the name of the greatest people that have ever trod this council.
Whoa. Hold up. Now,
From.
you are saying that all wrong.
I'm reading what's there.
I mean, I know you're reading what's there, but you're reading George Wallace, and you're not reading it right.
Where's that guy? He's from Alabama, right? How would it be read?
He was. He's got to be dead by now, but you're not reading it right. Okay. Let me read this right.
Channel your inner George Wallace.
In the name of the greatest people that ever trod this council, I draw the line in the dust and toss the gauntlet before the feet of the people. I say, no term limits now, no term limits tomorrow, and no term limits forever.
That's what I should have named the show. No term limits forever. I gotta applaud you, Duke.
Here is failure to communicate. Some citizens you just can't reach.
Look, that is definitely channeling the inner George Wallace. Folks, if y'all have never heard George Wallace's speeches, you need to go back if you want a history lesson and listen to some of the stuff that he said. But I don't know if I can do this with a straight face now. So
I gave it my best shot. But you can't read that without putting that Alabama inflection in there, or trying to anyway.
Look, I'd have sworn you were from Alabama and a Crimson Tide fan and not from Houghton. All right, so according to Sadow, that's the message that the Bossier City councilors, Republicans David Montgomery, Vince Maggio, Democrat, I thought he was a no party. Maybe Jeff Darby sent when they voted again to violate the city's charter by failing to permit consideration of a measure. So what he's alluding to here is the same way that George Wallace tried to block segregation, literally with the Klan and all these sorts of things. If you go back and see history, that's essentially what Sadow says the good old boys are doing. What do y'all think?
Segregation 2.0 in Bossier City. The haves from the have-nots. And all of y'all watching this show, y'all are the have-not. I'm sorry.
Remember, holding, well, I'm not even going to repeat that tonight. Well, what was the saying that I did last week? Holding to a higher standard, not a higher class. Yeah. They think they're a higher class than everybody, than all of us. And they can do what they want. And so that goes to one of the questions earlier. Well, what do we do now? Well, we're going to have to see because they just got by with it. I mean, it's kind of what I was predicting, and I had a couple of people ask me, well, how can they do that? Well, because they can do it because what's going to happen now? Well, I mean, what? Is Judge Self going to send the sheriff's department down there to arrest them for contempt of court? Is somebody going to file is the AG's office going to file malfeasance charges, or is anybody going to report that to the AG's office? What's going to happen?
Well, either way, I mean, there's over 100 of y'all watching. I mean, of those 100 watching, 100 people in Bossier City. And the question is, are they sharing what's going on? Do those 100 people that they know, do they know what's going on in Bossier City? Do they know how this cuss word you used, calcitrant or calcitrant or
Recalcitrant.
calcitransies? Do they know how these calcitransies are treating the citizens of Bossier? Do they know how they are disregarding, the citizens? I mean, and if you're not communicating that and you're not explaining it to the best of your understanding, it's partly your fault. It's partly on your shoulders because that's what this show is about. That's what everything that we've done. A lot of different people, not us. I mean, we're the hosts. I mean, hey, if any of y'all out there want to do what we do, you know what? I'll give up my seat and you can do it. And you can be here every week telling everybody about what's going on. That's fine. I don't need the limelight. I don't want the limelight, but that's fine. But there's not a lot of people that'll stand up here and make the sacrifice and take the shore. I'm not asking for thanks. I'm not asking that at all, but I'm just saying that the small thing that people can do is you carry the message. You carry the message to the people that don't see this, they don't hear all of this. That's your part. That's it. It's easy.
It's like we've said from pretty much day one. Our goal here is to show the behind the scenes stuff, give our opinions on it, and let you guys watch and listen to us rant and rave and get on our soapboxes and decide. And not only that, we hope that we encourage you, for right or wrong, to attend some of these meetings. You can see we put out the call earlier today on pretty short notice, and that's really only shows about a third, maybe a third or half of the people that were actually there. There were more people there. The camera view just doesn't show it, and I was really surprised. Saw a lot of new faces in there. All right, but this is a team effort. We get on our soapbox every Tuesday night, but we are extremely grateful that we have enough people watching this show and enough people that care about Bossier politics that you're starting to show up and go to these meetings. You're making comments. I mean, look at Cassie. Her name is literally on the lawsuit suing the city of Bossier. All right? She deserves a lot of credit and a lot of kudos for that. Because you don't see my name on the lawsuit. Duke's name isn't on it. The Colonel's isn't on it. Wes Marriott's name isn't on it. All right? Cassie Rogers is on that lawsuit. And so this is a team effort, and we appreciate every one of you. Look, even if you can't attend the meetings, we know people have to work. We've been lucky the last few meetings. We've been able to attend. I've been able to attend some, so we get it. Like Duke said, even if it's just sharing out content or letting your neighbor know, hey, did y'all know this was going on in the city of Bossier? So that's it for my soapbox for tonight. I don't need to step up any further.
So everybody that showed up today, we put out a call for folks to come. A lot of you did come. And look, hat tip to all of y'all. You're the heroes that showed up, and they have to look at you. They have to sit up there in those seats and see you sitting out there in that audience. And that counts. Whether you say anything or you do anything other than just show up, they have to look at you, and that counts. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And so we're not going to do, like I said, not going to do the play-by-play. I do want to show one part of this, which is not related to term limits, oddly enough, about Montgomery and his rollback commentary. But I highly encourage everybody after the debate tonight or tomorrow when you're bored or whatever, go back and watch the city council meetings and watch the commentary and the back and forth. And I got to say, I was a little concerned about Bubadon because there's a point in there where he had to ask Phyllis, well, wait a minute, what are we voting on and what are we doing? I don't know if everybody caught that or not. So that was a little concerning. So you may want to pay attention to that. That was in about the first 15 or 20 minutes of the meeting. But let me jump forward because I want to get this in, because one of the reasons we put out the call to go to this meeting is they were talking about discussing the taxes today. And so a lot of people showed up for that as well. And so listen to what Queen David Montgomery had to say.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, I was going to make a statement real
Okay.
quick. Phyllis had done this for me just so that everybody is clear and understands that we are going to roll back the millage to 21.5 mils. Is that correct, Phyllis?
Yes.
So that there will not be an increase in what the
Listen
people
closely.
pay in taxes.
Listen.
And that's coming from the city council here at Bossier.
Did you notice something about that? It occurred to me at the meeting. I just didn't get up and say anything at that point. So I need some help from the audience. Y'all tell me, do you remember any of the city council meetings where the city council voted to take an action on rolling the millages forward, backward, or keeping them the same? Does anybody remember that meeting? This is like deja vu. Didn't we ask that question a couple of shows ago?
I will have to apologize. I'm fielding a question and information live on the show. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Well, so I was just asking, does anybody remember when the city council voted on that? Let me go back and let's hear it again.
For me, just so that everybody is clear and understands that we are going to roll back the millage to 21.5 mils. Is that correct, Phyllis?
Yes.
So that there will not be an increase in
All right, listen.
what the people
Listen
pay
carefully.
in taxes. And that's coming from the city council here at Bossier. So just for the record, and right now it's 23 and some change,
Angela, 23
.58, so
22.58 right now.
Okay,
22.
so
All right, so
okay,
ding, ding,
I'm
ding.
with you. No, there hadn't been any meeting where they cast a vote or whatever. There was the press release from the mayor's office and the saying that the city wasn't going to. And I think we asked that question on that show whenever they made that press release. When did they vote on
Yeah.
this? When did
Yeah.
they take action on this? Because they hadn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're glad they're not rolling forward. They're obviously choosing to roll backwards. I mean, that's fine. But maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I mean, is it just his wording that he's using, the way he's talking about it, or does he know that they already discussed it? I mean, because don't they vote on it right here afterwards?
Yeah, they do. So let's we'll go there and we'll just show the vote. Hold on.
I mean, but look, if you filed a complaint with the ethics board about a walking quorum or whatever, all they're gonna do is they're gonna say,
Oh yeah, they're gonna deny it.
"Oh, well, he wasn't saying that. He was saying something else.
Yeah,
He
this is
wasn't
what he
whatever."
really
I mean,
meant.
you could have video and audio or even audio of a secret meeting and it
They'll deny it. Oh, that meeting
it
never
didn't mean
happened.
nothing.
These are not the
That didn't
droids you're
happen,
looking
no,
for.
uh-uh.
All right, so
That's
let's see
coming
how the
from
vote was. Hold
the
on.
city council here at Bossier. So just
So,
for the record.
for the
and
record.
Right now, it's 23 and some change,
Angela, 23 point,
.58, so
22.58 right now.
22, sorry.
And so it'll be 21.5
Right,
after this.
so anyway. Clear up any misunderstanding there.
So and that's
Any
the
He wanted
point
to
I
clear.
want-
He just
That's the
opened more
point.
questions.
that's the point I wanted to know. I mean, you guys watch this. Jerry Castellani said he already knew. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to form your opinion. You watch it, hear his words. What do you think? But here's the thing. You file a complaint with some investigatory agency or whatever. These guys will lawyer up. They're going to fight it. They'll have the city attorneys fighting it. Oh no, he didn't say it was snowing. He said it was raining. That's what he meant. Even though he said it was snowing, he actually meant it was raining. And you get nowhere. I
Yep.
mean, so at the end of the day, it's whether or not you've got elected officials that are gonna, you know, tell you it's snowing or tell you it's raining. And you
I
get to
agree.
choose.
Yeah. So there's
But
your vote.
historically, we keep choosing the same ones.
Hey, yeah, it's our fault, folks. Really. I mean, all of ours collectively. I mean, we're doing what we can, and all you folks watching and commenting and sharing and going to the meetings are trying to change that. But collectively, it's all of our fault because we keep voting these morons back in every time. I mean, what the hell? Except for Jeff Free,
And
he's never really had any competition. So, but that's all other conversation.
yeah, I mean, he scared the competition out of every race. But here we go. I mean, they're using your tax dollars to fight you. You pay them to fight you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So Ruth Pope Johnson, yep, as Cassie pointed out today, they'll lawyer up and we're paying for the lawyers. Isn't that just lovely? All right. What else, Mr. Lowry? We have a debate in 9 minutes, so I'm going to get the popcorn and the real drinks ready because I'm going to watch that entertainment.
Okay, so we got to talk about before we close the show out. I sent you a message here just a second ago for something for us to close the show out with one of our watchers. Thank you. The watcher did not want credit for this, but they sent this, and I haven't heard it. I don't know. I did listen to a little bit of it. It didn't apparently is. I know it's not copyrighted and any of that, but they thought it was appropriate for this.
Okay,
And but
so
anyway, let's talk about before we play that. Let's talk about H Town a little bit. So a lot of y'all are wondering H Town. What are you talking about? Well, when I
oh
say H
yeah,
Town, I'm
yeah.
talking about Halton. If you're from Halton, you know. If you're from Halton, you would know. So Thursday night, 7 p.m., we're going to be hosting a debate for the mayor candidates of the city of Halton. And they've all agreed. And I'm kind of excited about it. There's already been a little bit, I shouldn't say controversy, but we've had some things that have transpired that we had to change venues and just hadn't happened before because we've always done debates at my office, and that's worked out well. This was actually the first time where we're going outside of that, so I guess it was to be expected there would be a little bit of an issue. Halton's one of the fastest growing small towns in the state of Louisiana, so they've got a big election. Their mayor is self term limiting, not running again. I presume by choice, and you've got three guys that haven't served out there that are going to be running, and Halton's got a big decision to make.
I completely was forgetting to mention that. Yes, that to answer Dee Dee White Clark's question this Thursday, yes, it will be this Thursday. We are planning on streaming that live. If for some reason the internet connection hiccups or is not good, we'll record it and then we'll play it Thursday night. We'll get it up there either way Thursday evening, but everything should be live if it all works out fine. And yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, and the debate, like you said, will be streamed live, and we would ask the folks watch it and then share it out, especially to the folks from Halton that we will be conducting the debate at Stacy Berry's office. She graciously allowed us to use her conference room and she's hosting the debate. She's a realtor out in Halton, and kudos to her for stepping up to the plate. Um, Maybe after the debate and the dust settles, we had another location, and we'll explain after the race is over. We'll explain what transpired there and why we had to move it, and Stacey Berry stepped up to the plate and, you know, enabled us to have location.
Absolutely. Now, Dee Dee White Clark is asking, what time are we planning on having this? 6, 7 o'clock Thursday night? Any idea on the specific time?
It'll be 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7
Okay.
o'clock sharp.
All right, so 7 p.m. All right, so that'll be Thursday evening. Should be live, 7 o'clock p.m. Hot and Debate. We're going to stream it. If something happens, we'll have it recorded and we will get it posted. But if everything works out fine and all that, yeah, 7 o'clock Thursday night. All right. So, what is this audio? I'm kind of tempted. Let me see if I can drag this over here.
I want to hear it too, because one of our viewers, you know, after watching the show this evening, sent this and said, "This is the song for you to close the show out." And I trust this person. I don't think that they would have us, you know, some what's that word again? You called this show?
Well, it's live, no take back. So, and uh-oh.
It wouldn't. It's not going to be no Calcatransy song. I promise you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to hit play and we'll close the show out with this. We appreciate everybody watching. Y'all listen up for a minute or two, however long this is. We have no idea. Let's listen to it.
In Bossier City, the people cry, need a change, we're asking why. Good old boys just laugh and sneer, ignoring voices that we hold dear. Term limits now, it's our demand, but greed and power they've planned. We're rising up, won't back down, time for change in this old town. Together we'll stand, united and strong. With every heartbeat, we'll prove them wrong. King David stands with a smirk on his face, while Bubba and Darby set their own pace. Baggio and Free think they own this town, denying our voices, they bring us down. Judgment's clear, but they just don't see. We'll keep fighting for our right to be free. We're rising up, won't back down, time for change in this old town. Together we'll stand, united and strong. With every heartbeat, we'll prove them wrong.
Okay. We have a theme song.
Good job. I think it was fitting.
Yeah, I have nothing to say else. We'll see y'all Thursday night for the Haunt Debate, and of course, next Tuesday.
Good night.